Mom, if Dad's gone, the company's all mine, right? Listening in disbelief at my brother's words, our mom, Patricia, responded, well, obviously, Daniel. Plus, if you do the math, there's supposed to be a sizable inheritance in Plan B with Dad's life insurance. We could live large for a while. It's like a bonus, huh? Got to thank our absent Dad. I felt like I was about to explode with anger. What's wrong with these people? This is unforgivable. I can't let them have their way. Just as I was about to yell, I got a call from Dad in the hospital. This story goes back a few months. My name is Christopher. I'm a 33-year-old architect working at a design firm. I moved out of my family home and now live alone in a nearby condo. Being single is a little lonely, but I love my job and live a fulfilling life every day. Today is a day off, and I had plans to meet with my dad, James. Ah, Christopher, how have you been? Dad showed up for our meetup with his usual warm smile on his face. Dad, long time no see. Have you lost some weight? Running a business must be tough work. Keeps me busy, but I'm doing well. Let's get going. I occasionally meet up with my dad like this to catch up over a meal. Today, Dad invited me to join him for some volunteer work. We're at a small children's care facility on the outskirts of town. Hello, Mr. Smith. James, Christopher, hello, and thank you for coming today. We were greeted by the friendly face of the elderly director. Dad and Mr. Smith were chatting away warmly. Turns out my dad grew up in this facility. After leaving it, he put himself through college and started his own architecture firm. Even without any relatives to rely on, he made it on his own efforts, and I've always admired him for that. On his day off, Dad often invites me to volunteer at the facility with him. Since we both have backgrounds in architecture, we can repair furniture and playground equipment. James, Christopher, you've helped a lot today. After finishing our repairs on beds, chairs, and swings, Mr. Smith thanked us as we were leaving. I felt good about making a difference, and for Dad, visiting Mr. Smith, who's like a father to him, must be important too. As we walked side by side, pondering where to grab a bite, a sleek black luxury car pulled up next to us. The window rolled down, and out popped Mom. Driving the car was my brother Daniel. Well, well, look who it is, back from the care facility again. Are we? Mom said. It's embarrassing to have a dad without parents. Can we stop this already, Mom? Let's go, my brother spoke, chomping on his gum. I wanted to retort that he was the one who should be embarrassed, being an adult with no stable job and dyed hair, but I held back. No point in saying anything to these people. It would be a waste. Daniel and I are going to dinner. You two can grab some fast food, and don't forget to fold the laundry, all right? Understood, Patricia. Dad responded, and without another word, Mom rolled up the car window, and they drove off. Dad and I just watched them go, saying nothing. Mom and my brother looked down on Dad, belittled him at every turn. Honestly, Mom might be beautiful on the outside, but that's about it. But the reason they can do all this is that they're basically living off Dad's income. They've been trash-talking him for as long as I can remember, saying he's a deadbeat from an orphanage, that he has no ambition or excitement in his life. They probably only see Dad as a wallet that listens to their every demand. What's worse, my brother Daniel eats all of this up and joins in on making fun of Dad. Our family has 2 kids, but Mom has always lavished her love only on Daniel. She's pretty much ignored me, giving Daniel whatever he wants whenever he wants. Thanks to that, Daniel still clings to Mom like a child, even in his 30s. He still calls her Mommy and lets her dictate even what he wears and eats. When I heard that Mom accompanied him to every driving lesson, I was floored. Dad, Isn't it hard living with those two? I asked my dad that question. I'm used to it. Besides, they're still family. I have to do what I can, Dad said in a lonely voice before heading back to the house he shares with Mom and Daniel. All I could do was watch and go. A month passed. I got a call from Mom saying that Dad had collapsed, so I rushed to the hospital. Dad, what on earth happened to you? Dad, who looked even more fragile than a month ago, responded, I got some tests done, and they found cancer. Apparently, it's pretty advanced. My dad had been diagnosed with progressive stomach cancer. According to the doctors, he had about 3 months to live, give or take. I never thought this would happen, especially since he's only in his 60s. Even my mom was visibly shaken. Why did you let things get to this point? Because you and Daniel been pushing Dad too hard. You know he's been stressed out, Christopher, Mom exclaimed. How dare you speak to your parents like that? You're nothing like Daniel. And what is Daniel doing at a time like this? Off gambling again. While Mom and I were arguing, Dad spoke up quietly. Both of you, stop. I'm fine. Go home for today. Dad, I'm sorry. I'll be back. I left the hospital room. But between my worries for Dad's health and the shock of his prognosis, I couldn't sleep that night. After that, I took on the responsibility of bringing Dad a change of clothes and doing his shopping as he requested. Sure enough, neither Mom nor my brother lifted a finger. Still, I wanted to make Dad's time as comfortable as possible. I popped into his hospital room during breaks from work and took care of him for 2 months. Then one day, when I went back to my parents' house to grab some of Dad's belongings, I overheard Mom and my brother talking in the living room. Mommy, once Dad is gone, the business is all mine, right? Stunned by my brother's words, I listened more closely. That's not a given. Besides, if you do the math, there should be around $2 million in inheritance. Mom chimed in. Wow, that's awesome. Maybe I should buy another car, Daniel exclaimed. Why not? You'll be the company president, so you should drive a nice car. Thanks to his life insurance, we can live a little lavishly for a while. It's like a bonus. Got to thank Dad for not being around, Mom replied. I felt like I was going to explode with anger. What kind of trash are these people? Unforgivable. I can't let them get their way. Just as I was about to unleash my anger, I got a message from Dad. Christopher, can you come to my hospital room alone? I managed to contain my emotions and went to see my dad. He had lost even more weight recently, and his complexion looked bad. Christopher, thank you for always being there, he said. What are you talking about, Dad? Just tell me what I can do to help, I replied, holding back tears. As I sat next to his bed, Dad began, There's something important I need to talk to you about. I listened quietly to my dad, holding back the tears. Visiting hours are almost over, so I'm going to head out. But about what we discussed, Dad, just focus on taking care of yourself for now. Ah, thank you, Christopher. See you later, Dad said. In the end, that was the last conversation I had with my dad. He took a turn for the worst shortly after and passed away the next day. I held my emaciated father's hand in the hospital room and cried. My mom and brother also put on a show of tears, but only this time. Things got pretty tough after that. Mom was technically in charge of the funeral, but of course, she didn't lift a finger. Instead, she showed up at the funeral all dolled up in makeup and tried to cut corners on the costs. He doesn't even have any relatives. Why not keep it simple? Mom suggested. Dad's co-workers and business associates are coming to the funeral. Don't embarrass us with that kind of talk, I countered. And today, while getting his necktie tied by Mom, Daniel chimed in, just do what Mom says. Don't waste money on a dad like that. Daniel, just be quiet. If it's about money, I'll handle it. At least let me give Dad a proper send-off. So I ended up taking charge of the entire funeral. It seemed Dad was well loved by many people. Lots of folks came to pay their respects. That made me really happy. About a week had passed since the funeral ended. That's when Mom spoke up. Now that we're a family of 3, finally got that person out of the picture. Now the $2 million inheritance is all ours, right? Daniel and Dad's company too. Man, I'm finally going to be the boss. Listen up. Christopher, you better give up your inheritance, got it? Just after the funeral had ended, they were already talking about this stuff. Annoyed, I replied, Dad had already arranged all the inheritance matters with the lawyer. I have the contact details. What? Why didn't you say that sooner? Call the lawyer right now. That's right, Christopher. Hurry up. So I dialed the number on the business card that Dad had given me. Not long after, the lawyer who arrived was a woman in her mid-30s. I'm Attorney Williams. I've been authorized by James to handle matters concerning the inheritance. I'm very sorry for your loss, she said while shaking hands and greeting. My brother, Grandin, said, Wow, I thought lawyers were all old dudes. You're quite the looker. Got a boyfriend. Daniel chimed in, Do you like her? Mom cut in, Daniel, knock it off. Both of you, thank you for coming all this way. Please come in. We ushered Miss Williams into the room and listened to what she had to say. Let me explain. First of all, concerning the company, James had told me before he passed that it would be transferred to an acquaintance's company. I've been proceeding with the paperwork. My brother raised his voice. What does that mean? I was supposed to become the CEO. I've heard nothing of the sort. For the sake of the employees, the company will be merging with a trusted and skilled company that your father was fond of. The other company has already agreed, so there's nothing that can be done. That damn outsider. Damn it. My mom hurriedly chimed in, Daniel, calm down. The inheritance is ours, right? It should be around $2 million, shouldn't it? Miss Williams answered matter-of-factly, No, there's nothing like that. The company was not doing as well as you think, and any remaining assets have been used to prepare for the company's transfer. What about our money? There should be $2 million coming in. Mommy, what's going on? Patricia has received a substantial life insurance payout. She has left a will expressing the desire to gift that money. What are you talking about? We've already spent that on a new car. The lawyer Dad had multiple insurance policies, right? What about those other payouts regarding life insurance? James had canceled all policies before he passed. All I know is that the money was used up. What? Where did all the money go before he died? Damn it. Was he planning to leave us without a dime? I watched Miss Williams leave as my mom and brother lost their composure. As she left, she said, It's tough, isn't it? All I could do was give her a wry smile in return. I looked up at the night sky, recalling the last conversation I had with my father while walking. Christopher, would you take over the company if I die? There might not be much in assets, but I should be able to leave you at least the insurance money. What are you talking about, Dad? You were the only one in the family who was kind to me. I wanted to leave something for you, at least. Dad, I respect you for building the company from scratch with your own hard work. I want to make it on my own too. I don't need the company or the insurance money. But if there's any inheritance left, I want you to use it as you wish. I'll help in any way I can. Christopher, thank you. Thank you. Walking along, I realized I had arrived at the facility. Despite it being night, Mr. Smith was in the yard. When he saw me, he ran over in tears. Christopher, James passed away so suddenly. He told me not to come to the funeral, but actually, Mr. Smith, my dad was grateful for both you and the facility. I just found out, too, a little while ago, James made a large donation to the facility. A really large one. Now we can buy the things the kids need. We might even be able to renovate. Thank you. But I wish James could have lived. I wish he could have been happy. While comforting a tearful Mr. Smith, I found myself crying too. Looking up at the starry sky, I whispered in my heart, Dad, you did it. You really did it. A few months later, I had occasionally met with lawyer Miss Williams to handle the intricate legalities of transferring the company and settling the estate. This was to be my last meeting with Miss Williams. After expressing my gratitude for her support, Miss Williams offered her condolences once more, comforting me in a considerate manner. As I was seeing off Miss Williams, I thought about how I might never see her beautiful face again. She was such a kind and gracious person. Just then, as I was waving goodbye, a familiar car pulled up beside Miss Williams, and out jumped my brother wielding a metal bat. Ah, hey! What the heck are you doing? I yelled and quickly tackled my brother. Shut up. Let go of me. His face turning red as I held him down to the ground. He was struggling. Were you trying to attack Miss Williams? What's going on? What's going on? Because of her, I didn't get the company or the money. It's her fault, damn it. That's ridiculous. This isn't Miss Williams' fault. I had thought he was foolish, but this was beyond anything I'd expected. While shielding a trembling Miss Williams, I called the police. Inside my brother's car, not just a bat, but also a rope and a stun gun were found, clearly weapons. He was swiftly arrested. When our mother found out, she fumed, You'd send Daniel to jail? Your own family. How heartless. I replied calmly, I no longer consider you or him family. My only family was my late dad. I'm cutting ties with the both of you. Mom was still ranting, but I ignored her and cooperated fully with the police investigation. I later found out that my brother had also been repeatedly harassing Miss Williams online, making vulgar comments and slandering her. Threats had even been made, and the police were in the process of identifying him. My brother was sentenced to jail for his attempted attack on Miss Williams. She also sued him in civil court for defamation, and he was ordered to pay damages too. Please take every penny he has if that'll make him reflect on his actions. I'm truly sorry for all this. Upon my apology, Miss Williams gave a faint smile and said, I'll do just that. Thank you for saving me from a dangerous situation. From now on, I hope you at least find happiness, Christopher. Several months later, when spring arrived, I found myself at Sakura Garden. Today it wasn't for volunteering. It was a business meeting. Thanks to the funding from my father's donation, the aging facility was planning on a renovation. Mr. Smith had approached me for the architectural design. I initially declined, citing my inexperience, but Mr. Smith was unyielding. James always proudly said, Christopher will become an exceptional architect. He's already surpassed me. We can do this. Because of James, I'd really like for you to take on this project, Christopher. With sentiments like that, how could I say no? I wanted to create a wonderful building that brings even a small amount of happiness to the kids and Mr. Smith. I'm sure my dad would have been proud of that. As for my brother, well, he hasn't changed even after his sentencing. Actually, he's become even more irresponsible. Though he avoided jail due to probation, he still begs our mom for money daily, starts drinking in the afternoon, and gambles away what he borrows. My mom is being pushed around by my brother every day. The large house we live in, thanks to my dad, along with the car bought with insurance money, were sold to pay for Miss Williams' compensation and my brother's bail. Now, it seems they live together in an old apartment. A friend told me she's lost her beauty, looks more like an old woman now. She brought this upon herself, but I hope she at least reflects on how she treated my dad poorly before he passed away and raised my brother to be such a mess. One last thing. I'm going to marry Miss Williams, the lawyer, soon. She told me in confidence that she felt attracted to me after I saved her from my brother's violent behavior. She's a bit on the serious side, but I really love her for her kindness and dependability. From here on, I aimed to work hard and be like my dad, building a